now
on News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
O'Connor and Company.
It's 7:06 now as we launch into Act 2 of O'Connor and Company. First half is complete and in the books. If you sign up for our podcast and download it, so if you missed any of it, you'll be fully informed on a daily basis. I'm Larry O'Connor. Alongside, you hear her voice, Patrice Onwuka. And Patrice, coming up later in the program at 7:35, we're going to check in with Carrie Rist, who's running for the chair of Prince William County School Board. 8:35, we'll speak with Jason Miyares, the Attorney General of the Commonwealth of Virginia. That's all coming up. I want to touch base here a little bit on the changing language in our society, specifically having to do with people like you, Patrice.
People like me?
Yeah, egg producers.
Egg producers. What am I, a chicken?
Boy, if you... Yeah, pick a little, talk a little, pick a little, talk a little. If your husband said, honey, Patrice, you are the most beautiful egg producer in the world, how'd that go? How'd that work out?
That would not work out well. No. I would ask him, are you okay? What did you, no.
I have a feeling she won't be okay after that. This is now the latest descriptor for women and mothers in our society. And it's being fully endorsed by Joe Biden's hand-picked Assistant Secretary of Health and Human Services, the person who goes by Rachel Levine, who was born Richard Levine and is, as Megyn Kelly puts it, presents himself as a woman, but not very effectively.
So a man is telling me, a woman, that I am not a woman. I'm just boiled down to my fertility, well, human producing parts.
Basically, although it's just a tiny bit more nuanced than that, because you'll see headlines saying Rachel Levine calls mothers egg producers, which is not entirely accurate. Rachel Levine is praising and holding up as exemplary a clinic in Alaska, a fertility clinic and gender care clinic, gender affirming care clinic that focuses specifically on the, get ready, I need to get it all out at once, the LGBTQIA2S plus community. Yeah, that's the full title.
Plus, whatever else goes in there.
Yeah. And so Rachel Levine is holding this clinic in Alaska up as an exemplar, as like, this is the model, this is what we should all strive for. And when you actually look into what this clinic does, the clinic has modified language for women that includes the term egg producer. There's others. You can be a gestational parent. Would you like to do that? Happy Gestational Parents Day. Here's your dozen roses.
Wait, what does that even mean?
You're the parent who gestates.
A mother? You mean a mother who carried their baby in the womb?
That's correct. Yes. Or if you don't like those, how about this one? Carrier. It sounds like you got a virus.
Exactly. This is, okay, so there's the scientific side, which is just ridiculous. I mean, you got to recognize there are two sexes, male and female. And then from a humanity standpoint, you've got to recognize the humanity and the dignity involved in being a mother and a woman who is able to carry life. Larry, let me just go on my soapbox just for 1 minute.
Please do.
It is not easy to, number one, have a child, to produce life, to carry the ingredients of life all of your life until you're able to have it fertilized, and then life is produced. That action alone is miraculous. And then to be able to sustain an entire life within yourself 24 hours a day for 10 months, it is also miraculous. And so to take all of that away from us and to boil us down to simply carriers and gestational parents, we're nothing less than shopping carts that you just toss a couple of eggs into, you roll it around in the store for a few months, and then you kick it out. And what gets kicked out? Another egg producing being or non-egg producing being. I mean, these people are horrible. They are horrible. They're not kind. That's not kindness. That's not humanity. That's just I can't even describe what that is.
You complain, Patrice. You're just sounding like
I'm complaining for every woman
like
and
a typical.
mother out there.
You sound like a typical XX individual. That's the other term they want to use. Are you an XX individual or an XY individual?
At least that recognizes science, because they don't want to even recognize science and nature.
This is where we are. They also have other corrections to the language, like, don't say women produce eggs. Say ovaries produce eggs. Because those ovaries could be anywhere.
Have a life of their own, right?
And the ovary can be in a man, of course. A man with ovaries.
There are no men with ovaries. There are women who think they're men that have ovaries. Let us stop this. This is confusion. This is absolute confusion and madness.
Well, this comes courtesy of the Biden administration, again, holding up this gender-affirming clinic in Alaska, because they are leading the way on gender-inclusive biology, which, by the way, along the lines of your last statement, at least they're acknowledging that there is such a thing as biology. The problem is biology needs to be more gender inclusive. So the best way to achieve that is to refer to women, not as women, but as, let me go through the choices that you've got again, gestational parent, egg producer, or simply a carrier.
No, this is ridiculous. Here's how this can be damaging in the school setting. When you have sex education classes and you separate the sexes between male and female, and you've got a biological boy going to the girls' sex education class, what is he going to learn that is pertinent to his physical body? And a girl who's presenting herself as a boy, what is she going to learn in the boys' sex education class that is pertinent to what she is experiencing in the moment? They're actually doing damage to these kids by feeding this foolishness.
You don't sound very inclusive to me, Patrice, with that kind of...
I'm rational. I'm common sense. I'm a mother. I'm what most Americans are. Except for the minority of the minority who are just promoting this
I'll
garbage.
be honest with you. I don't understand why every woman in America doesn't stand up and say this, but it's because it's the Chardonnay drinking suburban liberal women who want to be... By demanding that women be referred to as women, it's unkind in some way. It's unkind and discriminatory.
It's insulting to the feminists, the waves of feminists who have fought for us to get a credit card in our name as women.
Thank you.
Come
or
on.
own property or make choices with their lives. All right, so I do have one silver lining. I always look for the upside in any story.
All right. Help me, Larry.
I've been looking into the various sort of twisted, contorted, into pretzels kind of use of the vocabulary to accommodate this inclusive language thing at this thing. And listen to this one. They don't want you to ever say when the mom gives birth or the mother gives birth. They don't want to use those terms, right? So instead they suggest this: when the baby exits the womb. But think this through for a minute. By saying that the birth process is the act of when the baby exits the womb, that suggests that while in the womb, it is a baby. And
not just some cells?
That's right. Just a clump of cells that has no meaning or no value and can be extinguished if the egg producer decides and chooses to kill that thing. See, they never want to call the entity in the womb a baby, but now this is the kind of puzzle they tie themselves into, because the only appropriate description of mothers giving birth is to say the baby has exited the womb. Well, if you're a baby exiting the womb, that means you're a baby while you're in the womb. So let's see what they come up with next. It's 7:15.
On the next Vince Coglianese show, the biggest threat to the left, the truth. It tells you a lot. Join us 3 to 6 right here on WMAL.
Well, Patrice, we already know what happened to Anheuser-Busch and specifically Bud Light as a result of their go woke, go broke kind of situation.
Yeah.
The boycott was pretty easy for people to do. I've always said that, it's like, conservatives should boycott more. Yes and no. But this is a kind of boycott that's super easy, because when you go to the supermarket or I'm
You have
sorry.
ample choices.
That's my California talking, going to the supermarket to get beer. Please, you can't do that here. But when you go to the liquor store or what have you to get your beer, when you go to get Bud Light, you can just look to the right or to the left, and you have beers that literally taste exactly the same with a different name, the same price, and you're not missing out on anything. So it was a real easy boycott, and of course, Bud Light continues to languish, and Anheuser-Busch continues to languish. But what about Target? I was told that Target would be a lot harder to boycott. It's convenient. People are either Target people or Walmart people, right? Or and
that's a snobbish assessment, Larry.
I'm not
saying you are. I just think that people saying like Target versus Walmart.
I just mean that the two stores are comparable in terms of selection, business model,
although
pricing.
Walmart is cheaper, though.
Walmart is cheaper, and not to sound snobbish, but I've always counted myself, if I had to choose, as a Target person, not a Walmart person.
I'm a Walmart person more than Target.
By the way, mostly because I grew up in Southern California, and it took a long time for Walmart to make its way to California.
Oh, okay.
It started in the South, and it sort of made its way. Finally, when it did, Target was already part of the life. Anyway. Of course, there were calls to boycott Target after their very aggressive Pride agenda in June, including those tuck-friendly bathing suits for young children,
and the onesies promoting transgender ideas.
Yeah, and they utilized an artist to make a lot of their Pride paraphernalia, the T-shirts and stuff. Who also, when not making Pride content for Target, was making literally satanic T-shirts and he was
a Satanist.
He's a Satanist, still is, this artist. So people started boycotting Target because of all of that, and the fact that the Pride display was front and center right as you walk in the door, everywhere. And remember, Target's response was, "Oh yeah, we're in the South. We'll move it to the back." It's so condescending. It's so patronizing. Well, we now have the specific results of those policies. The second quarter financial results are in, and the earnings for Target were absolutely dismal. One of the worst quarters they have had in recent years. And if you're wondering why, if you're well, maybe there were a lot of factors. No. The CEO of Target himself says this was because of backlash against our Pride Month merchandise. Wow. So think about this. Second quarter is April, May, June. And the Pride stuff happened in June. So just 1 month. That 1 month and your reaction to boycott Target because of what they did was enough to sink their entire second quarter.
There you go. I mean, listen, I don't like laughing at people, but I'm going to laugh at Target because they absolutely have been blatant in pushing this transgender agenda on kids. The issue, hey, you put your T-shirts for adults where you want to, but the baby onesies, the toddler clothes. I walked into my Target and I saw that. I posted the pictures on Instagram, and then I boycotted, and I rarely boycott. But I think it shows Target that their customer base is much bigger. Who opposes is much bigger than they certainly assumed.
Yep. Then apparently the boycott was right on target in this sense.
Ooh,
Let's see what the next quarter shows. It's now 7:21. Patrice says we're in the middle of this presidential campaign now. I want to take a quick flashback to that infamous day, February 3rd, 2016. Jeb Bush, it's locked in history now.
Back in the business of creating a more peaceful world. Please clap.
It's just
that's embarrassing.
It was so sad. It was right before the New Hampshire primary, and it's just the resigned depression in his voice. It's become the sort of iconic meme of a politician who is just past their time, sadly. And again, it's no reflection on Jeb personally, but just
please clap.
It's just become a thing. Well, yesterday, Nancy Pelosi at the White House.
We can all agree we have a moral obligation to ensure strong, healthy, resilient communities for future generations. I think that's an applause line.
Nancy has her own little please clap moment.
How far she has fallen.
Sad. I think that's an applause line.
Please clap.
Nancy, no. It's 7:29. Chugging along here on this Thursday at 7:36. Thank you for joining us and letting us be a part of your morning routine. We love it. We really do. And we honor it. We actually don't take it for granted ever. We really appreciate you tuning in here at WMAL. Coming up at 8:35, the Attorney General of Virginia, Jason Miyares. I'm Larry O'Connor. That's Patrice Onwuka.
Yeah. Good morning, Larry.
Patrice, if you ever ran for school board, I would vote for you. I would move into
really?
your town so I could vote for you.
Okay, I will keep that in mind. Right. And will you fund me as well?
Joining us now is Carrie. Let's just move on.
No check. Okay, all right.
Carrie Rist. She's the mother of five school-age kids, by the way. And she is now running for the Prince William County School Board, the chairperson of that august body. And she joins us now. Carrie Rist, thanks for being here, and thanks for running for school board.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Good morning. The website is carrie4chair.com. That's the number 4, carrie4chair.com. Listen, you're a mom of 5. You got enough on your plate right now. You got, trust me, I know what it's like to have that number. Well, I have 4, but that's enough. Why would you then say, you know what, I don't have enough going on in my life. I'm going to run to be chair of the Prince William County School Board?
Correct. I have 5 kids, and they are a handful. They're lovely, and we're preparing for back to school day today, visiting 2 schools. So super exciting time in our house. But there comes a time where you either say, listen, the change has to be made and someone has to do it and someone has to step up here, or no one is going to, and you're not going to see change. And that was a decision that our family made months ago. We are not pleased with what we were seeing in the public schools. We weren't pleased with the policies and the things that were in place, and said, listen, someone has to do it. And here we are today.
Well, I love that. You're stepping up and you're making that difference. Talk to us about it. I'm on your Instagram page here, Carrie4chair, Carrie number 4 chair.
Yes.
And it seems like you've got 3 platforms here: transparency, empowerment, and accountability. Talk to us about what each of those means and what you want to bring to the table.
Sure. Transparency means can be many things, but getting into the race, it was, we need to understand what is in the curriculum. Right now it's door knocking season, so we're talking with voters. Voters are concerned about curriculum, and they want to know what is being taught, what are the programs that their kids are being exposed to in school. There's a lot of rhetoric of things that they're not seeing, or the explicit books that they're seeing in schools, or just curriculum in general. And so they want to know what is being taught, what their children are being exposed to in schools. That is a common theme that I'm seeing across the board. Well,
it's also common sense. Why should we even have to fight for that, Carrie? Of course we should know what our children are learning in the classroom. I also note on your website, demand transparent leadership, as you just pointed out, and then respect for parents, politics-free classrooms, and academic excellence above all else. I love it, and I think it summarizes it. As a parent in the Prince William County school system, I want to ask you about that politics-free classroom. What are you hearing from other parents? What have you witnessed in terms of politics being injected into the classroom?
Well, I guess we can refer to the Virginia Department of Education model policies that just came out, right? So they just released new policies that reverses the 2021 model policies. And those policies, as Governor Youngkin has said, have policies that empower parents, prohibit discrimination, create safe environments, address anti-bullying, and protect the dignity of all students through bathroom policies, athletic procedures, and student identification measures. I think that summarizes politics-free classroom, right? So before that, in 2021, we had different bathroom policies, different gender identification policies, and the 23 model policies have essentially rolled them back. To my knowledge, Prince William County Schools, or the school board, has not commented on that. But so what we have now is we are trying to remove those out of the classrooms. And so politics-free classroom would be, let's get back to academics. Let's focus on the literacy rates. Let's focus on getting teachers teaching in the classrooms. Right now we have 300 teacher shortage. And that's only going to hinder the students and create overcrowded classrooms.
This is fast. We just spoke with the superintendent of Spotsylvania schools yesterday. They've just passed, the school board just passed the model policies and adopted them there. There's no reason why Prince William County can't do it unless they're terrified of this issue because it's an election year. But it sure sounds like, Carrie, your position is vote for me, and we will make that the policy of Prince William County. You've got a rally this Saturday, the 19th. You've got a great lineup of people joining you, including Delegate Nick Freitas, Janine Lawson, Bill Wolf, and I'm seeing on your endorsement page, you got Yesli Vega on board, Ian Pryor on board. These are all good people. Tell me about the rally and how people can attend.
Sure. So it's a back-to-school rally, and it's just to encourage candidates and voters across the county. Anyone is welcome. It's a free event. It's at Malarkey in Bristow. It's just 2 hours to come together, get re-energized, get charged up, just say, hey, we're here to support the candidates that are running both countywide and district-wide, and let's get ready for the fall. Get back to school and get ready for a great fall.
Yeah, and get parents back in charge of the school system. And Carrie Rist, I'm looking forward to seeing your campaign develop over the next several months. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Carrie.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Oh, please. Are you kidding? You just got 6 minutes away from your 5 screaming kids. You're welcome, Carrie. Thanks.
Why, thank you. You guys have a great day.
Returning now to President Biden's remarks at the White House yesterday, we've already shared with you the creepy Biden whisper moment.
The Financial Times and the Wall Street Journal initially called my plan Bidenomics. I'm not sure they meant it in a totally complimentary way at the time. But guess what? It's working.
And we've already shared with you the creepy stay away from my children moment.
I want to say one thing to your children. I know some really great ice cream places around here. And Daddy owes you. Okay?
It's just got to stop. And I believe we've already shared with you the angry old man yelling for no reason moment.
Name me a single objective we've ever set out to accomplish that we've failed on. Name me one in all of our history. Not one.
Of course, this was on the 2-year anniversary of people falling off of the side of an Air Force jet fleeing Hamid Karzai Airport. Yeah, I think that's one. But now we've got more. Joe Biden once again yesterday claimed that he is the poorest man in the Senate. Now, I gotta say, this is something that we've heard him repeating lies recently. Of course, the lie that his son died in combat injuries in Iraq, and he, met his flag draped coffin. That's just a lie. He was actually at his bedside, and he died of brain cancer. He's lied about this guy on Amtrak who says, you as vice president, you've spent more miles on Amtrak than you have on Air Force One. That's a lie. The guy retired before he was vice president. He's told the lie, just lie after lie after lie. Oh, of course, the corn pop lies. Yes. But this one was really a good one because now we know so much. He's repeated this lie for quite some time, and of course it was fact checked. Well, here's what he had to say.
And by the way, if you can be a billionaire, not a problem. I'm a capitalist. I'm also listed for 36 years as the poorest man in the Senate, but that's a different issue. But
I'm a capitalist, but I was also listed as the poorest man in the Senate. So Roll Call always does this thing. Every year they do the net worth of every member of Congress.
Oh, yes.
And Joe Biden's net worth was always amongst the lowest of the senators, right? He's like, I'm the poorest man. I didn't cash in on my... But, of course, now we know the truth.
Exactly.
We know where the money was. The money came from his children, and his brother brought in all the money.
And they put them into shell companies where different family members were paid out. And Hunter Biden says that he was paying his dad's bills.
Yes.
So, yeah, you could be poor when everybody around you is being super rich and spending their money on you.
I'd love to be that kind of poor guy, right? I mean, how many homes does Joe Biden have? And where are they?
Thank you.
Right? On the beach?
Thank you.
I mean, it's a beautiful thing. And by the way, let's not forget, that's also tax evasion. I'm not making the money. My son makes all the money. Then he buys me a house, and I live in the house, or he buys this, and he buys that, and he takes care of the expenses, and he pays my electric bill. By the way, he was, a senator making pretty good money there, right?
Yeah, and not poor at all.
In any way whatsoever, right? To use the word poor, it's like, it's one thing to say that my net worth is the lowest amongst my colleagues in the Senate, but to use the word poor, I was the poorest member of the Senate. What does a senator bring home? Like $2,250 a year,
like that, which
plus the expenses.
I'm pretty sure it puts you in the top 4, 5%,
maybe 1%
in this country.
Yes.
Maybe 1%.
But he does this all the time. Back in 2014,
this is the poorest man in Congress. He still makes a lot of money as Vice President of the United States, and I do, by the way. I do.
Yeah, but that's not the only money he makes. That was at a time where millions of dollars were funneling into the Biden family accounts. And how did they make those millions of dollars? Because Joe Biden was allowing his access to be sold by his son. So that's a good roundup of all of the things he said something about the economy too, but who pays attention to that?
Joe Biden.
Other than this.
But guess what? It's working.
That's the important.
Yeah.
The important
that's
takeaway.
President Biden for you.
So there you go. That's the major takeaways from Joe Biden's appearance at the White House yesterday. He's creepy. He says things inappropriate about children. He does his scary whisper thing. He starts shouting about how there has been no achievement that they haven't been able to do perfectly 2 years after the disastrous pullout of Afghanistan that involved the murder of 13 service members that he still hasn't apologized for or even really mentioned since that week. And now he lies about being the poorest person in the U.S. Senate. That's a day in the life of Joe Biden.
That's a lot. And the sad part is very few outlets other than here is going to tell this to you.
That's
Everyone else will tell you, he's a dad who loves his son.
It's working.
7:53. Coming up, it's our big 8 o'clock hour. We've got an update on the events in Hawaii that many people are now raising flags about. The lack of sirens, the lack of the ability to get water diverted to help put out those fires. Was this a government failure? We'll explore that. Also, the Attorney General of Virginia, Jason Miyares, all coming up in the 8 o'clock hour.